Alright everybody, you guys asked about it, so I wanted to make a video on exactly how I actually run the YouTube channel and how I make my videos, what my workflow is like, what cameras I use, what accessories, how expensive or not expensive was it. So without further ado, let me actually show you exactly how I make these YouTube videos and honestly show you how easy it is to get started and kind of do the same thing on your own. But without further ado, let's get into it. So to give you guys a little bit of background of how long I've been making YouTube videos, I think I published my first ever YouTube video back in 2014 just by using an iPhone, I think 5 back then, or iPhone 4S, something along those lines. And it was a desk setup tour that I did back in my parents' house in my basement. And then I actually had another channel which kind of focused on the fitness side of things, and back then I was actually using a dedicated camera, a Sony a5100. If you guys have been following me for long enough, maybe you'll know what that channel is, and leave a comment down below if you know what that channel is, because only the real OGs will understand that channel. But for my current setup and what I've been doing since about 2018, 2019 is pretty much being able to simplify everything and making myself as efficient as possible. And the way that I did that is by going all in into the Apple ecosystem and going all in on creating that workflow based around the Apple ecosystem. Because to start off with what I actually have, I wanted to keep everything as minimal as possible, as efficient as possible. Because what I like to kind of reiterate on is that I like to be able to use what I have around me. And when I first started, again, the personal channel, I think it was in 2018, 2019, I didn't want to spend any money, right? I didn't want to spend any money on camera gear because I knew purchasing camera gear wasn't going to make or break the channel. It was the information and the way that I actually spoke that was going to change everything and kind of make everybody want to come back for more, ideally. So what I did was I started using an iPhone 10. So my iPhone 10 was my main camera for my old YouTube channel, and I've kind of stuck with that throughout, even to this day. So right now, my main camera is an iPhone 13 Pro Max. Now, we'll be getting the iPhone 15 Pro Max when it does come out, so the camera will be, I guess, upgraded, quote unquote. But at the end of the day, just use your phone, right? Use whatever phone you have around you, because for the most part, as long as your phone is within 4 to 5 years of age and you have decent lighting, it'll be good enough to actually get you started for A-roll shots where you have some controlled lighting. Now, if you're in dark environments, you need a little extra light, or maybe the actual camera on the phone itself isn't good in those kind of environments, and maybe get something else. But at the end of the day, I think just getting more light is going to help you, and it's going to be a much cheaper way to get you started. So again, my main camera is an iPhone 13 Pro Max. I try to control the lighting situation as much as possible, but I do use and rely on a lot of natural light, but I also have a couple of ring lights. So the main ring light that I use for this A-roll setup right here is by a company called Sandmark. It is a wireless ring light that is extremely powerful, lasts around 4 to 5 hours on a single charge. It charges via USB-C. It gives you different color temperatures, so you can go a little bit on the warmer side or a little bit on the cooler side, and it's extremely bright and works well for this environment, right? I'm relying this to go right into my face to kind of brighten up exactly what you guys see. So that is by Sandmark. It comes with a clip for your iPhone, so it pretty much brings everything you need besides the actual tripod. And then for more lighting, like I said, I rely a lot on natural light, but then also I have another ring light, which is literally from Amazon. I think it was like 20 bucks from Amazon, and both of these ring lights are sitting on very cheap tripods, right? I didn't go out and spend a lot of money on tripods. I could have gone crazy and bought a $200, $300, $400 tripod, but I wanted to keep it simple. I wanted to keep it minimal. And I've been using these tripods for years now. So I think between the two tripods, I've probably spent less than $80. And again, I use one tripod that holds up my iPhone with that Sandmark ring light, and then the other tripod holds up the other ring light, which is connected directly into power into the wall. So now when it comes to the microphone, that is the one thing that I actually did spend a decent amount of money on. I believe this is the Shure SM7, and I spent about $200, $250 on this one. But I do have it connected directly to my iPhone with a micro USB cable on one end and a lightning cable on the other end. Hopefully with the new iPhone 15 will be USB-C all things, but this is the microphone. It's something that I did want to upgrade on, because before this I did just use the built-in microphone on the iPhone itself, and it worked plenty fine. It was a little bit echoey, and as I started to grow, people started to comment like, hey, the audio is a little bit echoey. So then I ended up getting kind of like a vlogging kit from Amazon, which I believe was $80 to $100. But it brought a microphone, a tripod, everything that you would need to it was like a vlogger starter kit. And that microphone, which in reality was probably only $30, $40 of that kit, worked fine for a very long time. But it wasn't until kind of the 9 to 5 Mac days where I wanted to really kind of upgrade the audio a little bit and make sure that I was kind of keeping that up to snuff when it comes to that, because you can't really fix audio with good lighting, right? You can have great video with great lighting from an iPhone, but when it comes to the actual microphone, it does make sense, especially with these kind of videos, to have good solid audio. And you also might have noticed that sometimes in my videos I'm looking at my watch, and it's not because I'm telling the time or trying to see if I need to go somewhere. It's because I actually use my Apple Watch as a viewfinder for my iPhone, and that again kind of mixes into that Apple ecosystem. You can see maybe right here that I have a viewfinder, a live viewfinder of my iPhone and whatever it's seeing on my actual Apple Watch. Now I'm using Apple Watch Ultra. Before this, I used the Apple Watch Series 5 and that worked fine. I will say the Apple Watch Ultra, the bigger screen, does help a little bit. It doesn't give you the full picture, but it gives you enough to let you know, like, hey, you're centered, you're a little bit off to the right, a little bit off to the left. It's perfect for those situations, and you can press record. You can actually stop and start recording. You can use the actual crown to zoom in. And I am using the Apple Watch with a titanium sandmark band. If you guys do want to check it out, I'll leave it linked down in the description below because I think it's very cool. Much better price point than whatever Apple offers, and pretty much gets you exactly what they offer. But again, the Apple Watch is instrumental in this setup because I don't want to rely on like a mirror. I don't want to be using the selfie camera. I want to use the main shooter of the iPhone, and being able to use the Apple Watch as a viewfinder is exactly what I want to be able to do. So again, I'm not looking at the time. I'm actually looking at myself, which I don't know if that's better or worse. But that is my filming setup. So I have my iPhone for video, I have this Shure microphone for audio, I have a couple of ring lights, a couple of smartphone tripods that are definitely getting the job done, and then I rely on some natural light that's behind me or in front of me at all times. So again, just use what you have around you. And then when it comes to editing, my workflow is even simpler. Because I am in the Apple ecosystem, I like to be able to rely on things like AirDrop. And I do use my iPad Pro as my main video editor for both video, and then I also use it as my thumbnail editor. So when I'm done, I just AirDrop all the footage to my iPad Pro, and even though I'm recording in 4K 30, sometimes even 4K 60 depending on the B-roll, it still transfers relatively quickly over the air because I have a strong Wi-Fi connection. I'm signed into the same Apple ID on all of my iDevices, of course, so the transfer speeds are very, very fast. Even now with iOS 17 and iPadOS 17, it's even faster. So that's something to consider, so I don't have to rely on a cable. I don't need like a dongle. I don't need an SD card reader. I don't need any of that. I just AirDrop it directly to my iPad. And then from there, I do use an application called LumaFusion, which I believe right now might be on sale for $20, but I purchased it for $40. But it's a one-time purchase. It's not subscription-based. They do have some in-app purchases, but the normal $40 version is more than enough to get you started. But even if you don't want to spend money on something, like iMovie is plenty good enough to get you started, especially if you're somebody that's never edited video before, because it is very simplified and watered down. There's also Final Cut Pro, which is that subscription service that Apple has for Final Cut Pro on the iPad, but it does come with a 1-month free trial if you do want to test that out, and I believe it's $5 a month or $50 for the year. I decided to stay with LumaFusion because I'm just so used to it. I've been using it for 4 or 5 years now at this point, and I've been editing every single video on my iPad for a very long time. And then once I'm done editing my footage and I have what I kind of think is a good video ready to upload, I upload it to YouTube directly from LumaFusion because that gives you the best kind of export quality in LumaFusion. So I don't have to like export it and then re-upload it. I don't really need to rely on anything else. Everything is done directly through LumaFusion. It uploads directly to YouTube, and then it's good to go. That is my workflow beginning to end. iPhone to record video. This microphone records directly to the iPhone, so it's not like I'm using 2 separate tracks that I have to sync in post, so everything is very easy. It gets exported directly together. Then it gets sent via AirDrop to my iPad. I edit everything on the iPad. Then I upload it from the iPad directly to YouTube. I then take some pictures for my thumbnail, again, and I'm using my iPhone to take those pictures. It's not like I have another dedicated camera for thumbnails. If anything, I have a second iPhone. I have an iPhone 13 mini that I occasionally use as a secondary camera, or if I need to record something from my actual iPhone 13 Pro Max. So I actually have 2 iPhones that I use for the YouTube channel because I figured instead of spending a couple $1,000s on a camera, let me just buy another iPhone that I know fits in my workflow perfectly. The iPhone 13 mini was, I believe, $500, so much cheaper than the actual camera. For me, it was a win. But then once that thumbnail is done, it gets added. I do all my administrative tasks like adding descriptions and adding monetization and adding tags and making sure that the links are all good. I do that all from my iPad, and then I hit go live, and then the video is ready to go. So that is my workflow from beginning to end. I've seen people ask me in the past what it looks like. It's very simple. I'm more about efficiency over having so many things. Maybe at some point I will get another dedicated camera, but these iPhone cameras are getting so good. And even now with the 15 Pro Max that's coming out, I bet you the bokeh is going to get even better. The field of view is going to get better. So these cameras, I already have an iPhone. I already spent the money on an iPhone. Why go out and buy a dedicated camera that only maybe adds another 5% in terms of quality? So that's just my opinion. But again, I'm not a camera person by trade. There's people that actually enjoy using cameras and kind of messing with settings and enjoy that part of it. I enjoy the part of making videos. I don't really enjoy the camera part of it, if that makes any sense. But that's gonna do it for this video, everybody. Let me know if you learned something new. Again, use what you have around you. You do not need to spend money on stuff if you want to start a YouTube channel, especially now in a day where a lot of it is vertical content. Use your iPhone, right? Use your Android phone. Use your, your nothing phone too. That is going to get you started very easily. So start with that. Maybe get yourself a dedicated microphone for audio, because audio is relatively important. But outside of that, you don't really need to spend any money. Find yourself a well-lit situation, use your iPhone camera, maybe use an external microphone, and you're good to go, everybody. But that's going to do it. Leave a comment down below what you think. Do you use an iPhone to record your YouTube videos? Are you planning on starting a YouTube channel? Leave some ideas down below. I'm always excited to discuss down in the comments, but definitely stay subscribed, because we will be going over all the iPhone stuff that's happening next week. I'm super excited to finally get my hands on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. But that's going to do it, everybody. If you guys want to watch more iOS, iPadOS, or macOS content, click on one of these videos right here. And until next time, I'm Fernando. I'm out of here, everybody. Peace.